you're supposed to keep talking.
No, we're gonna edit this out.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. We're gonna edit this out, dude.
Lay down.
Get in the bed! Okay, and we're live. So today we're going to be talking about deepfakes and AI. I have seen some deepfakes and have heard about them in the media. Have you
I don't know what a deepfake is.
even heard of it before?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, so what I know about deepfakes is essentially it's a way to leverage AI to put somebody's face or like body parts or just a full body altogether, or like almost like giving a hologram to something that's real, right? So like if me sitting here, using deepfake, I could all of a sudden become Joe Biden talking to you, and it'll be the best ones will have the voice to go with the visuals, but they started out just with visuals, and when they first started coming out, I think it was kind of rampant in porn, actually. So
What?
yeah, so
How?
well, I feel like a lot of new technology it goes into the porn industry like instantly, but. So what was happening is, people are using deepfakes for like celebrities, right? So there'll be some video that's like a popular video or something that, is like a good video, and then they have, like Scarlett Johansson or some like popular actress or actor, and it's almost like an overlay of the face. And so I've heard of that, and I've seen media posts where like high schoolers or that around that age group would put the face of somebody at school on this like scene or video that's definitely adult rated, and then spread it across the school. And it was kind of like a rampant thing. I don't know if it's still like a popular thing to do, but at one point it was pretty up there.
Did you see that Netflix movie? It came out like I don't know, a few months ago. About the technology and everything, and like they put the what's it called? Oh, dude, you should look it up. Where it's about like AI, and they put the AI in the house, and she like takes over the house. But it's freaky because what you're talking about makes me like what if someone like takes your image and like like hack your stuff? Like that's trippy. No, it's not that one.
Oh, are you talking about the one with
They get in the end they like go into the Tesla car and they drive away.
It's that brunette chick that was on Transformers. What was her name?
Do you know the movie?
Did
you watch it?
I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen videos of it.
Dude, that movie is good, dude. It's really good.
Is that the one where like he falls in love, or the AI robots like trying to get him to fall in love with him and leave his woman or something?
No, kind of. There's like you gotta watch it, dude. It's really good.
Okay.
With the deepfake thing, that freaks me out because again, like I said, like what if they can like someone? What if it gets to the point where someone can hack into your stuff, or we can't recognize real from unreal? Because right now, like I notice like it's getting like AI is getting really good, but it's not like like what happens when you get to the point where you can't even recognize?
Well,
that's freaking crazy.
I think people will insert conspiracy theorists after the statement, but I think it has been used in politics, specifically
Biden.
With Biden. Yeah, no, there's been
really?
there's been some really weird videos out there where it's like, like his face is super static, but then all of a sudden like you see like the teeth, it's like just missing or something. Like it's just black.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong with the image, and it just definitely didn't look lifelike kind of thing.
I mean, if anybody doesn't have the technology, it's gonna be the government. And
Ever bet.
Biden would literally be the perfect person to do that too. I mean,
Yeah.
like did you see like his press secretary or the speaker like for him? She was saying on one of the like TV shows that she like never had any contact with him at all, like through the whole term with him. So when she would go and like face the press, like she like had to like come up with stuff basically.
I don't know. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's pretty hard to believe like anything with that, what happened in the last 4 years. To be honest, these dogs are driving me nuts.
Dude, like chewing with you right now.
So yeah, for anybody that's listening, I got two
Leave it.
10-month-old mix from the pound. They're 60% pit and the rest shepherd, and one of them had 1% Chihuahua. So be right back 1 second.
Come here. Lay down. Tyler, you're supposed to keep talking.
No, we're gonna edit this out.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. We're gonna edit this out, dude.
Lay down.
Get in the bed. Oh man.
Okay, so we're back. So yeah, the Biden, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole hacking thing, like, my question is, how do you counteract that? What do you think? Like, how do you
don't.
respond?
You don't.
So-
So if it's something with politics, most people don't have time to sit there and research every little thing about everything that happens, and stories are spun different ways, right? So, if this is happening, people are just going to believe, whatever it is inherently. Maybe not everybody, but there will be a group of the public that will believe whatever they see on TV.
Yeah, I was trying to log into one of my accounts over the phone.
Yeah.
And they were trying to have me do a voice recognition to use as a login, like a fast login. I was like, nah, dude, that's creepy to me. Like someone can just like get your voice. And,
Well, actually, that's I guess that's another way of deepfake is just voices, right? So you have
Mhm.
you have streamers, you have OnlyFans, popular people, right? I guess influencers is the right thing. Hey, maybe we're influencers now.
Mhm.
But so you have influencers, or you have just popular people in general that's in the public,
Mhm.
and then you have companies that have been taking their voices, basically downloading a lot of words that they've said, and then based off of that like set of words, they can use their algorithm to basically guess the best that it can to be able to create words at that point. So, like me talking right now, if I say the set of words, then all of a sudden they download all that. Now I can say whatever they want, and that's another. I think they've actually used that with Biden too, but it's definitely a way. It's like an invasion of privacy in a way, and it's like you can't control it. What if you're talking
Mm.
online or in media somehow, your voice can be stolen.
Yeah. I don't know. So would you say like hackers? Like, cause I would argue like now, like say you like to steal a car, like it's probably almost impossible for someone to steal a car now because the tracking in it and everything. Like there was like especially like a Tesla, like you could like it's crazy.
Well, they would still steal it, but
Sure.
it might be for a more modern car. It might be more likely for them.
Yeah, I'm talking about newer cars.
Yeah.
But in the side of like being on the internet, it's probably way easier to hack people now with this new.
Well, the deepfake, I wouldn't even call it hacking. I mean, if you have your basically information out there that's
Mhm.
not your social. It's your pictures. So like literally, so OnlyFans chicks, right? So they have their stuff all over, and you know, there's stuff that's free, and there's stuff that paid. So these entities will take these, you know, attractive females from, well, you know, even Instagram or whatever. It doesn't have to be OnlyFans, but you got these females or male models that have their pictures all over.
Uh-huh.
So now these people can literally steal those pictures, act as if they're them. They can use them to go on, you know, dating websites and scam people that way. They
Mhm.
can other ways to contact people like Facebook. I mean, I personally know somebody that has, you know, given out money to basically fake people because there's some sort of attraction there, um, and they thought they had a chance, kind of a thing. So, um, you know, I don't know, when you talk about like hacking or stuff like that, like it's not even necessarily hacking. It's just it's out there, so people can do wild stuff with it. Um, for the voices, though, there, I think there was some kind of like, I don't know if it was litigation, but there was some kind of discussion about, you know, if you are an influencer or somebody has, you know, a podcaster or whatever, audiobook reader, um, to somehow protect your voice. I don't know if that's been litigated, but there's been discussion about that, I believe, because um, so like my voice right now, if somebody uses that for something else,
Mhm.
they shouldn't have free rights to that. Like I should get some kind of royalties or something like that for them to use my, you know, my voice or creation or identity, whatever you want to call it. So there's definitely a lot of people that's having a hard time with that, and especially the more popular they are, right? The more it's happening.
Yeah, it's hard because like you said, if you put something on the internet, it's always gonna be out there forever. But then if you get super famous, super wealthy, then you're gonna start getting like obviously more people are gonna wanna
This is more of a target.
exactly, and you have you know the money or the willpower to fight against that. Hey, it's like if you copyright someone's CD or anything or their logo or whatever. And it's interesting to think about it from that perspective because I was just thinking about it from the whole hacker thing, but you're going with it with the
Yeah, I
different
mean,
angle that I didn't think about.
yeah, I mean, you know, when you think of like hackers, just essentially assume all of your information's out there, even your social security. It just depends on if somebody wants to purchase it or not. Like on the
Yeah.
dark web, pretty much everybody's stuff is out there.
Let me ask you this: so do you think that we want privacy?
Do you think that we want privacy?
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like everybody wants privacy.
I don't think so.
In what sense?
Well, I mean, obviously, we want privacy, like where we can have a safe space, or where there's not other people around, where that are not loved ones. But
Is this a safe space enough for you?
I'm feeling really scared right now. But I'm saying, like, we put everything out there, we show everything out there. I don't think we want privacy. I mean, like the Alexa or the Google Nest, things of that nature, or even like any my TV, my smart TV, like that's all recording me. That's all listening to me, and we willingly know this,
Well, I
like our
think
phones.
yeah, I think there's different versions of this. So like,
Sure, we
you
want.
know, my wife that's been in law enforcement or other law enforcement
Mhm.
or you know, jobs that deal with the public and maybe the more criminal side of the public, they may have social media, but they may have like a weird last name or something that doesn't. It makes it harder for somebody to link,
Yeah.
you know, like my wife to me and my family because, um, you know, they could be part of, you know, court cases or something like that, or even just the people know them from the day to day from the job, and then they can try to target you and your family. So, I mean, there's that kind of privacy that people, you know, people definitely do. But as far as like, you know, posted media, like the general public, um, you know, for some reason, what's coming to mind for me is when I was like 19.
Mm.
You know, I was in my boxers and shirt, drinking Four Locos, and there's a silly picture of me from back in the day.
Yeah.
And like out partying or whatever, and that's always out there. I actually I'm not sure if I'd have to like delete an old MySpace that I don't even know about or something. I don't know, but like that kind of stuff definitely exists, and people forget about that, right? Also, you know, sexting, right? People text each other whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they think it's private. Well, our government agent that's assigned to each and every person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're looking at this stuff. I, if I remember right, on Joe Rogan, they were talking about like encrypted texting, and I think the only well now I can't remember if there's a second one, but I know WhatsApp apparently is like encrypted to where like nobody can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one's like Signal or Signal Fire or something like that. It's like it's specific to be encrypted and very safe to where nobody can actually see it other than who you send it to. Kind of
Yeah. So the government's using AI or they're using technology to tap into our, I guess, privacy. It's hard to say where the fine line in that is, because obviously, you know, if there's a dude trying to blow up the next building, you know,
so
then you don't want him to just be able to like, if I'm watching TV, look at me on my couch.
yeah, there's some weird stuff. So like even if your phone is off, like
Yeah.
they can see through your camera.
Yeah.
Like there's some really weird stuff that they do.
Mm.
So there's, you know, in theory it would be okay. So we give them the power, they take that power from us and just do it, right? So in theory, it would be nice if they only were able to like listen into keywords and then, you know, look into things from there. But just recently, I don't have the names, but there's been I think it's the FBI. There's a few people in the FBI that's been caught. So they're supposed to be looking at this kind of stuff that we're talking about and dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some sickos in the FBI that look up or that see like child stuff on people's phones, but they don't like take care of it. They're distributing it to the other sickos in the FBI. I mean, I don't think it's a big group, but the fact that is happening in the FBI. I mean, that was just released like a couple weeks ago. You know, so the fact that is happening at like one of the highest level agencies that's supposed to be like patriots. I don't give a shit which way you lean, like left or right. Like you should not be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. This is like, even like you said, you know, you just said it, your phone can still record you when it's off. You still bought the phone willingly. That's why I said I don't think humans today we would care about privacy. I don't think so.
Have you ever read the user agreement when you bought a phone?
No one reads it. Have you read the user agreement for anything?
No.
I don't think
I have.
I'm telling you, like I think we're so we've been groomed and blossomed slowly but surely to give our privacy up.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're living a private life, like I just don't think I think it's impossible today for one.
I mean, if you have a phone or a webcam, you don't have a private life because it could also be through your computer. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and look at like China, what they're doing with like how have you seen the stuff in China? How like they have the cameras in every corner of the street and like if you walk in.
That was going to be the direction we're going, man. If we don't fight for our freedom, it's gonna. So they have something called a social credit score over there.
Yeah.
Right. So for anybody that's listening, social credit score essentially, the government decides what is good and bad and what is worthy of your time. And if you do something against those rules, then you start to get a negative social credit score, and it's tied to your finances. So if you want to go buy a boat and you've been doing what the government thinks is like shady shit, well, guess what? You don't get to buy that boat. You may not even get to pay your rent if you do, you know, bad enough stuff, kind of thing. So, you know, that's the direction we were going here. Hopefully we're not now, but that's a very scary thing. It was on Black Mirror. You ever watch Black Mirror?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think they have like 4 or 5 seasons, but one of the episodes in Black Mirror is literally that, a social credit score. So not in China, but
Uh-huh.
it was, I don't think it was America. It might have been like UK based or something. But like
Uh-huh.
the setting doesn't really matter. It's, this girl is walking down the street, bumps into somebody,
Mhm.
and it's like an awkward engagement.
Mhm.
So the person that she's having an awkward engagement, you know, pulls up their phone, looks at her, thumbs down, bam. Her credit score is like a .01 or something lower, and she just had a bad day, and she went from like kind of a good credit score to
Yeah.
she can't afford a
Yeah.
Snickers bar or something like
Mm.
in like 24 hours, which obviously that's exaggerated, but
Mm.
I mean that is kind of the direction that it's going.
Well, have you seen that movie? Is it Time? Where they have like the on their wrist, the time, the clock.
Oh no, I've seen so many clips of that, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, so what do you think about that being reality today? Like where the government can control, basically, basically they can control where you go. So say the social credit score type thing, and then or like by cost of living, they in a weird way they can control zones you go to. Because well, once you could say I don't know Hawaii, 30, 50 years ago is probably it's a lot cheaper to go to Hawaii than it is now. So now you have to be super wealthy to go to Hawaii.
Well, I think maybe taxes started off in a good mindset. I would hope it was, but nowadays, we're taxed on money that then gets taxed, that then gets taxed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sure looks as if it's a way that just keeps the public just squeezed, and especially with inflation and all this other kind of stuff. It just, how do people get ahead if the money that you're making, even OT, right? I know, well, we both had overtime. A lot of people that are listening probably has, and you do that overtime, and it's basically just cut in half. That's not how it should be. I mean, we are trading our time, which essentially we're a slave to the machine, right? If we want to be comfortable or get ahead, you have to do something, and the general public doesn't do anything extra. They just have a job, right? So if you have a job, how do you make more money? Overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But then the overtime, you don't get that full amount, and it's just at what point are you willing to work that amount, right? Everybody, not everybody's the same. Some people are gonna like need to have that overtime or need to have a second or third job, and others are willing to sacrifice a little bit of time to have more work-life balance. But then they might suffer on, what they're able to do in life. I mean, it's all about time. So yeah, that movie. Actually, I would like to watch that after this. Now that I got some free time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sean's still looking for a job.
yeah. If anybody's got anything, let me know. Yeah. But yeah, no, that movie sounds interesting. Remember a couple scenes where it's like you've got somebody with like a little bit of time and somebody that's got like a ton of zeros behind 1 or 9 or something. It's like, damn, how this guy get all that time?
Well, did they play that game? Like they flipped their hands. You've seen the movie, right?
No, I'm gonna
Oh,
I'm
you've
gonna
never
watch
seen
I'm
it?
gonna watch it. No, so like TikTok, you basically watch movies without
Yeah.
watching them. But because of TikTok, that interested me in that movie. I just never watched it.
It's good, really good. It's really good. Okay, so we covered kind of the well, what about like so AI and the government? We would say yeah, like the government's definitely tapping into our stuff.
Oh, for sure, it's proven like that's happening. Yeah.
But I'm not, like I said, I don't think we care.
If you cared, what can you do about it?
Sure.
And that's kind of with a lot of things. It's you have these politicians that they get in however they get in, then all of a sudden they do stuff that's wild, and it's I wish they wouldn't do that, but what do we do? Do we get like for California? we get a petition to recall Gavin Newsom, right?
Mhm.
Well, he's still in, right? So I don't know. It just seems like where there is a machine, it's the machine is generally going to win, unless there's something extremely significant. Which kind of goes into the Doge, the new stuff with Doge, what Elon and Big Balls is doing to get the corruption and fraud out of the government. Do you know of Big Balls?
Mm-mm. No.
So Elon, hired, I don't know how many people, but there's something called like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. But it's basically like four 19, 20-year-olds that have funny screen names on whatever their media is, and one of their names is Big Balls. So the leftist media is just going wild with it, like, I can't believe Elon. They already hate Elon because he's doing this because it seems like he might be taking away some of their funding, but just the fact that there's a younger kid named Big Balls, that's like what they were pushing on the news for like at least a week, if not two. They're just like losing their mind about it. But like, does it really matter? If we go back to like the merit conversation, they got hired for a reason. They didn't get hired because their screen names were edgy. They got hired because they had different metrics of their worth for what they could do for Doge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of them, I don't think it was Big Balls, it was somebody else.
Yeah.
But one of them, he's been working on AI to read an ancient scroll that's rolled up, and it's been, I believe it was burnt.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were to unravel it, basically disintegrate, right? So he's got some kind of, or I think the conglomerate has some kind of like 3D imaging.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can see the paper,
Mm-hmm.
and like each layer, but it was like impossible to read what's on it, and it's tightly wound, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, how the hell do you read that before you destroy it? And one of these guys figured out some way to leverage AI. Eventually, he found a letter, and he found a few letters, and he found phrases. So he's kind of like putting together this puzzle of what this scroll is, and I can't for the life of me remember what the scroll is about. But you get really gifted people that Elon is looking for to do a certain job, but then you have media just like, there's something that we can yell about because Elon's bad, so let's put these people down,
Yeah. Elon, he, I think he's good, but I think he has methods that scare me, and I question that if they are moral.
How?
Well, like the chip in the brain.
You don't want to become a robot?
No, it's
okay, so all of a sudden.
But see, here's the thing.
You're blind.
Well, no, okay.
You wouldn't want the chip to help you see?
It's not that. It's Okay, so like you think about it, the chip in the brain is basically like having, I guess, a computer, like using a computer. It's no different, but it's in your brain.
It's not there. It's more.
That's what the intent is.
So
it's intended to be like make you super smart, basically.
You can control. There's been different cases. So the most basic function, which he started the premise of the chip, is to toggle on and off bits. So like in PLC logic or electrical work or just computer, whatever. People's bodies have a hard time turning something on and turning something off if they have like physical.
Sure. Okay, I know what you're saying. Is like if you're disabled, it could activate that. Science, logic, great. But here's what scares me about it is that that's the beginning. But it can get to a point where, let's say the chip makes you smart, and you become so smart because of the chip that as a human being, I have to have the chip. I have to have the chip now to even be on your level.
Okay, so let's take that and let's dial that to actual AI.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not using AI, in most of the workforce, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be most likely outperformed by somebody that is using AI.
And see, and that's the thing that I agree with Elon, and because it's like, look, here's my, you know, my beliefs on robotics and everything, and how I feel about it.
I thought you wanted to be a robot Jesus, but apparently not.
But it's like I said, we have to keep up with China, because whoever's leading the AI race is basically leading the world. So we have to do it.
Trump says that we're ahead, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree with all that.
I mean, you're gonna say anything they can to keep you afloat,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Apparently, they're
Like,
there's their new AI that they released over there is DeepSeek,
yeah,
which it just doesn't do as good as Grok or I think Chat GPT, but it's like infinitely cheaper. So I'd be curious once they scale stuff up, actually how good it'll get.
what's gonna be crazy, and I hope I see it in my lifetime, is when they get the AI to be able to read or listen to animal voices. Dude, have you seen like what they're trying to do with that? It's crazy.
I've seen some stuff where they try to
Like-
understand like when a dog or cat makes certain noises, like what it means, but I don't think like actual like one-to-one language.
I think we'll see that. I really do.
That'd be cool.
Dude, like imagine if your dog's barking and it's like, shut up, Sean.
You could tell the dog like to actually do what you want, and then they'll be like, "No, screw you! I want to go bark at this." Okay, so with the chip in the brain,
Yeah.
so here's another angle.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen the mech suits that humans are able to get in, and they're like, the size of this room, or maybe a little bit smaller than, I don't know what is that, 9 feet or whatever, but you can get in this suit and you can control it with your body. So now think if one of these guys that had the chips, they're playing like Pong or Call of Duty or something, and they're able to, I think actually one of them is playing Call of Duty, and it's like he's got aim hacks on. He's just, everything's a headshot. As soon as somebody's around a corner, boom, headshot. Like, it's the guy's nuts on the game, right? So now think about if he can control that with his mind instead of his hands. I would think that you'd be able to sync up to these suits. Now that gets into warfare or policing for countries. So maybe let's just stick with America, right? So if we have cops now that to gain a certain ranking or level or whatever it is, they have to get these chips to be able to operate these suits. Maybe they get paid more, but now they're in these suits and they're like, basically bulletproof and other resistances type thing. But literally, like, what do you do if there's a cop in a suit and he's like saying, "Hey, you need to stop, or else I'll stop you," kind of a thing. Like, there's actual nothing you can do. I mean, right now, unfortunately, there's firearm, back and forths. But what happens if there's a rogue cop, or even worse, what happens if that technology gets into the wrong hands? So let's say somebody did get a chip and they did get one of these suits somehow. I know I'm being wild with this, right? But what happens if that gets in the wrong hands? Yeah, I don't know. It seems really scary when you think about new weapons, new potential weapons.
Well, it's like I told you, humans are destroying themselves.
End of the story. Stop the podcast.
Think about it. Like all we're doing is trying to we're replacing us in the face of a robot or AI. I mean, look at San Francisco is using cop dogs now to go up to cars. Yes, it's safer, it's better, but now we're gonna have cop dogs, and they say it's the point where we don't even need a cop in a cop car. It's gonna be, and then we're gonna be sitting controlling the robot. Then it's gonna get to the point where the robot controls itself. Yeah. We're literally just destroying ourselves, and slowly but surely.
Are you kind of up to date on quantum computing?
I understand a little bit. Yeah.
So they recently they recently solved an equation that should have taken like to the end of time kind of thing to solve, but because they solved it, they think that it could mean that we are in, or that there are parallel universes, and that the quantum computer was able to tap into computing from each multiverse, basically. Now, if that, I mean, AI alone, I think is able to. So what I'm getting into right now is like internet security and like banking security, right? So there are basically equations that make it to where people can't currently hack into certain things, and eventually, if they try hard enough, or figure out clever things, then they can break through, which happens. But once AI, and especially once AI gets along far enough, I think that is going to be a lot more common, and we're actually going to start hearing about it probably the next year or two, I would think, just for normal AI. But for quantum computing, if that ever links up with AI, which I think we all know it's going to, that's the end of our banking systems. That's the end of our internet security as we know it. We might be able to use the quantum computing and AI to make new security, which I'm sure that would happen as well. But as soon as people with malicious intent have those technologies, then that's going to become. I mean, it could be like the end of the world kind of a thing. So like we see the Terminator movies, right, where the AI just takes over on its own. It can think and do all that kind of stuff. But I think the scarier thing is like with these technologies that are like, yeah, I'm talking about it, but like I can't even really comprehend what it really means, and I don't think most people can. So once those technologies get in the wrong hands, I mean that could be game over. I mean, you can have a ton of money in your bank account. You need to go pull it out. Bam, it's all gone. All the way to the point where like nukes will just be fired, kind of a thing. Like they'll be able to hack into anything. It's not just finance system. It's anything that's connected to a network. Which I don't know if the nukes actually are or not. I think everybody's assuming they are, but maybe some are, some aren't. I don't know, but anything that's connected to a network is vulnerable given enough time with quantum computing and AI, especially when they get connected. So that's what's scary, and that's very likely that scenario can happen in our lifetime. Elon has basically asked, what do you think about AI and the future of civilization?
Yeah.
Do you think it's net positive only or a detriment? And he said, it's about an 80% chance that it's going to be only good for us. There's about a 20% chance that it could ruin civilization.
I disagree.
With the numbers or what?
I think it's like
higher negative side.
Yeah. I really do.
I mean,
people
that have taken stats class, which I haven't taken stats, but people that have, they're going to hate what I say right now, but it's a 50-50 chance. It either does or it doesn't happen. Right?
I just don't think, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. How are you going to make up those lost jobs? I mean, think about right now as we sit here in 2025.
Do they have to?
Not make up for the jobs?
Yeah.
You have to come up with a new financial system of how you're going to keep these people afloat.
Okay, so let's say. Okay, here we go. I gotta be careful with my wording here because I don't know how YouTube works yet. But let's say that there is some disease that's released, or something that debilitates humans to the point where they die. Right. So let's say that was released on purpose because of population.
COVID-19.
So.
I'm saying it. I'm sorry. I'm doing it.
And we're demonetized before we even start. So let's say that was released. Let's say that the population is significantly hindered. And, it would seem as if some people planned it years before. I mean, there's literal videos actually with Bill Gates in it.
Yeah, look at what's it, Fauci? Fauci? How do you say his name?
Fauci.
Fauci. Bro, he literally got pardoned.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
But still, think about it. He got pardoned.
Right.
Okay, but continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So if the powers to be make these decisions and they just decide to not care,
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say that they need to replace these jobs? You know, who's to say that, you know, if you lose your job, that, you know, they're going to have something there. So what do? You know, do you move to another country? Do you? Because eventually all countries will follow suit. Not all countries are first world.
So are you talking on like you're basically saying a new world order, a reset?
I don't know if I'd call it New World Order or reset, but it would definitely disrupt, right? So, you know, we talked about it the other day where maybe something like art from a human might be more valuable than art from AI eventually because, you know, even the background on this, clearly I used AI for that, right?
Yeah, but I disagree with you because think about what you're saying. Right now we have thousands and thousands of different jobs out there. What I'm talking about is robots and AI is literally going to take over off my head, my
a lot.
tiny head,
A lot.
80-90% of that market. How many people are artists? I draw stick figures. Like how many artists are we gonna be able to have?
No, yeah, but
So what my point is they're gonna have to come up with a new.
why? Why would they have to? Yeah, people are going to be down and out, and they're going to be like, "Oh man, we're sure working on it," like they always do.
Sure.
But what's the likelihood that the government is actually going to, you know,
Okay, but
follow through with something like that at
I'm
a
not
full
saying.
scale?
So what you're saying, it sounds like is basically the government's gonna put aside human beings, let AI robotics take over, let the human beings die. But the problem is the person controlling all of this is a human being themselves. So unless there's some insane person like just screwed up in the head, I have a hard time believing that they're gonna want to destroy their own race.
So maybe I should have got a crystal ball so we can rub it on some of these podcasts. But
You should have.
but you know, we don't know fully how it's going to affect the jobs. But at a minimum, any lower skilled job, any job that is customer service, any job that is, you know, retail inventory, like all, there's a lot of lower level jobs that are going to be taken. Now if you think of like project management, I think that can be AI. Eventually, there needs to be some kind of human eye to validate quality, assuming that quality doesn't get there for AI, right?
Yeah, but you're totally just like bypassing the how fast AI is gonna advance. Like, look, you're gonna Elon releases, I think he said like 1 million robots.
Well, no matter how fast it advances, like that is going to be how it at least starts.
Sure, that's how it's gonna start. But it's not gonna be like, in my opinion, it's not gonna be in a decade. It's gonna be 10 years, 20 years. Because like Elon said, he's gonna release 1 million robots. They're gonna be on Costco shelves, Walmart. You're gonna buy a robot, and then and then the robot's gonna need maintenance. You're gonna buy parts to fix your robot, and then it's gonna get to the point where robots can fix themselves. The factory robots can fix themselves. Everything, like, that's a reality. So, like I said, you have to come up with a system in place to take care of all these human beings. And then you can't. So here's my thing. Let's go way down the road. Let's get to the point where like robots and AI are just so self-efficient, where I can just like snap my fingers, say I need this, bring it to me, or I want to go here, we go here. Like everything's free. So if you get to talk about a free world order, well, that's gonna be crazy. So you see what I'm saying?
How far down the road do you think that is?
Till free?
To where society is a utopia and you can just
Well, I don't.
on command,
I
tell the
don't.
robot to do whatever for you.
I don't think it's gonna get to that point because I think the civilization will die before it gets to that point. Because like I said, once robots are self-efficient, AI is self-efficient, and it's growing. Because I mean, look, dude, ChatGPT. We're on ChatGPT 5 right now. Like 20 years from now, the technology. Oh my gosh.
So with with the Chat GPT, it is kind of interesting. I think they are starting to get into a speed bump of scalability. So every iteration they've either tweaked the logic of it, or they've increased the processing power, which means to everybody that's not sure how that works, it's like you basically have a bunch of computers or a bunch of a bunch of CPUs or GPUs in in series, and you have like a big basically farm of them, and anytime you type into ChatGPT, it goes to this whole series of computers, and they all work on it at the same time, kind of a thing. So physically, scaling that up is becoming more of a challenge just because of cost, and technologically, it's becoming more of a challenge. NVIDIA, is one of the main video card. Actually, it's one of the main video card producers, and each iteration of those cards, it seems like they are less and less impactful. So they made a major breakthrough for like the 30 series and the 40 series. I think the 50 series is out now, and it seems like the percentage of increase of like compute is lower and lower each time. And there's also issues with like CPUs. So I don't know which one, if it's heavy on both or one or the other. But CPUs, they're making them so small and compact. Like each little part in there, if you make some of it closer, it's actually going to fail. So there's only so small that you can make those. But eventually, what I'm saying is, the next scale up that they're going to need to do is, it costs so many billions of dollars, or actually it might even be trillions at this point, that it's just not feasible. I guess unless maybe the government actually starts to do more, or Elon, does more with that. But it seems like it's kind of slowing down, like, to me.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And here's like, as AI gets more advanced and technology gets more advanced, the faster it's gonna go. The faster it's gonna rapidize. Because it's like, you're gonna be able to ask the AI, okay, what's a better way to do the CPU? Dude, like this.
Yeah, so there is
they're gonna use AI to make the AI better, to make our technology better and better and better and better.
Yeah, Intel, I think, just released, to go against everything I just said. Intel just released that I think they have some kind of like quantum CPU now, or there's something new with Intel. In fact, let me look that up real quick.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'll ask you this. Okay, what's more likely to happen first? A nuclear war, AI takes over, or we get hit by an asteroid? What do you think?
AI takes over, get hit by an asteroid, or what?
Or nuclear war.
Nuclear war?
Yeah.
What if the poles reverse on Earth before all that, and it causes the Earth to flip the direction and causes tidal waves?
Okay, throw that in there.
We're gonna be like Noah's Ark all over again.
Jesus is coming. What do you think? Which one? What do you pick out of the four now?
I'm not sure what ultra processors. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look this up more, but I know Intel did something new. I just don't remember what it was. I mean, yeah. So out of all those, AI or nukes, huh? So basically, like, what's the?
The most likely force to destroy us.
I think it would be disease.
I wasn't even in there.
Well, guess what? Fauci's working in his garage now. He's cranking out new
okay.
new diseases.
All right, let's go into virtual reality.
Augmented or virtual?
Both.
Have you heard of augmented?
Nope.
Okay. so augmented reality, for anybody that's not sure what that is, so it's kind of like virtual, except it's like in your glasses or something like that. So it's a visual thing. So
they were saying, sorry to cut you off, but they were saying like at work.
I'll allow it.
They were saying say electrician, you can go into a panel, wear the glasses, and it would help them troubleshoot the problem.
Yeah. So there's already different iterations of those. There are pros and cons to the different styles. I believe Apple has them, and Zuckerberg has. I don't know if they're like Meta glasses or what they're called, but yeah. So you're walking down the street in the city, and you look at somebody, and in theory, their information can be pulled up, or like you can find them on social media.
Yeah.
What I know for sure right now is that you can use them to pull up media and stuff like that, and watch stuff, or look, Google search or whatever while you're walking around. But yeah, I think the end goal is to be completely immersive, like in some video games, like Cyberpunk 76 or whatever the game is called.
Yeah.
You can kind of look at everything and get information on everything in real time instead of having to go to a paper document or something. But yeah, so an electrician, performing his task, it will make it to where he can just do the job and he doesn't really have to think about it. So, wonder what that means for wages,
What if the virtual reality, right? Because there's the aspect of buying property, doing business, owning land, housing, all that stuff. But what if it gets to the point where you can virtual reality yourself into a robot, and then you can use a robot and sit at home. And,
so we're gonna tap back into the porn industry real quick. So there is virtual reality. So we have different like video game systems where you put the like visor on your head and you're fully immersed, right?
Yep.
I saw recently that there are like sex toys that can be synced up to the game, and for male and female, there are different things that they have out there that, based on what you're doing in the game, will actually cause different sensations, with the toys. So that is one way that it's going to start, getting us more connected to that kind of stuff. There's also, robots that similar situation, that there are like adult robots that you can get, and I don't know if they're to the point where they can just do things to you, and like you put on the visor and you're just in another world and things are happening or what. But
yeah,
I mean, I would think that in the next few years, outside of like porn or whatever, that like that kind of stuff is definitely going to be a reality. I think they're like, what's the guy's name? Kai, a very popular streamer. He got a Tesla robot. And they're messing around with it, like pushing it and having it do things. So I mean, we're getting there. The fact that there are robots that can do stuff is definitely a thing now.
Yeah.
But it's gonna get, like you're saying, AI is gonna ramp up. It's going to be getting better and better as
you hear
we
that
go.
buzzing noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, no. There's something going on, maybe with the phone. no, it's closer to the TV.
Well, just cut the podcast before we went into virtual reality.
Yeah, no, put it back on.
Do you want to continue?
No, we'll just end it, but
Yeah.
I'll like edit
Yeah,
it. Yeah. So I think that's probably enough for AI, for deepfakes. I mean, we kind of, whenever we talk about one topic, we kind of spiral into all kinds of others. But
Humans are gonna die.
you know, that's just how. That's just how we do it.
Yeah.
You know, so we're targeting to get videos out every other day. You know, we would appreciate, as cliche as it is to say, I whenever I hear another YouTuber, I click out basically.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
It'll definitely help us. You know, if you like our content, you know, do it anyways. But you know, we're in this for the long haul. We are new to podcasting, but you know, it's something that Tyler and I have done a lot when we work together. You know, so if anybody works there still, you know, don't report them. But you know, we spend a lot of hours talking about all kinds of stuff. So you know, there's more to come, and we pretty much talk about whatever. So
Yeah. Thank you for watching.